Hello, horror fan best friends and ghoulish knights, and welcome to the 32nd episode of Murders with Mertens. I am your host, Joe, and this is a podcast about horror. Folk horror, body horror, sci-fi horror, the horror-adjacent thrillers, the psychologically terrifying, scary films in general. Each episode, I sit down with a guest and discuss one of their favorite scary films so that we can gush about everything that makes it just so damned cool. Viewers, thank you for the support. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you are so inclined. It all helps to get the word out and bring some much-needed love to this little podcast. Audio listeners, the show is also available on podcast services around the world like Apple Podcasts and Spotify, so don't forget to leave a rating when you stop by. 5 stars is always appreciated. Enough of all that housekeeping, though, because we talked about doing this episode so long ago, and this has been far too long in the making. I have the absolute joy of bringing back the one, the only, Joe Medforce from twitch.tv/Joe Medforce. Joe, how the hell are you?
Oh, I'm better than I've been in about a decade, and I'm so glad that we're recording this today, because as we record, within the week is the longest day of the year, Midsommar Festival itself. And just as I did when I first saw this marvelous motion picture, back after Hereditary rocked my socks off. There was a previous episode. You should go back and listen to it. Murders with Mertens on all of your favorite podcast services. There's a YouTube channel as well if you want to see our handsome faces. So, as he said, like, share, subscribe, spread the word about the horror bird, and keep it ghouly.
Hell yeah.
I'm really excited to be here, man.
Yeah. Absolutely a reason why you're back for this episode, because you're an Aster super fan. We're finally getting around to talking Midsommar, and the 2019's Midsommar, written and directed by Aster. This was supposed to happen around the release of his new film, Beau is Afraid. Life got in the way. It happens. But it is absolutely perfect, like you said, that we were able to, work this out and get you back, because, this will be going up right around the summer solstice. Absolutely perfect. Perfect timing.
There was a real missed opportunity with at least this Blu-ray packaging. How good would it be to get this is the director's cut, so it's the longest film that Ari Aster directed to date. He will get to that. I was afraid. But I used to, I love reversible sleeves. If Arrow Video ever have to do an Ari Aster thing, you want the inside of the, those tapestries, those those drawings, those paintings. It's like the Sistine Chapel if it was fucked up and had lots of weird relationship and parental issues. Hello, Ari Aster. Thanks. Anyways, where do we begin?
I mean, start with the man himself. I mean, he's basically, if every single relationship issue in the world went to film school, that's Ari Aster.
And fucking graduated in disgust, because if you made I haven't actually seen in full his student film, the short film he made prior to feature length Hereditary directorial debut, also known as Again, can I be built like that, please? Dude, I hope that when I go into practicing therapy as making a movie, I hope that I can be even a fraction as successful, bearing in mind the psychological damage is there, and not just from Ari Aster's films. They're bonkers and brilliant, and what a bastard he is.
That's a great way to put it. Absolutely.
But some may argue sophomore slump, right? I'm just saying, not everyone Midsommar liked, so.
Yeah, that's true. But hell of a sophomore film. Definitely well regarded with the critics. It's just the audience that was horribly polarized.
No. I love the idea that on his third film, which is his most ambitious yet, Beau was afraid, there were literally people. There's audio recordings, and I don't know if you heard it. I saw this on Twitter. Heard it on Twitter of like people saying like after the credits have rolled, like Aster, he's oh man, he's done, he's fucking done in this town, he's done. Like it was like the person was so incensed by what they'd seen on screen, so shocked, so disappointed, upset, literally afraid of sitting with their feelings of whatever that was. And I think for me, that's where Midsommar, in a similar way to Hereditary, with its meditation on grief and loss, the loss of a relationship is something that actually we unfortunately can all connect with. Because even if you think they're the one, it's going to happen. They're still going to break your heart, even if you stay together. So, and yeah, we begin with a loss of family and Florence Pugh.
The Pew.
Where's the justice for Florence, justice for Tony, Oscar for Tony, Oscar for fucking Florence Pugh?
It'll come.
Oh, yeah, no, it will.
Oh, hell yeah. It's, God, she's just so good. She's just, you just want to squeeze her. It's
No. Genuinely, you want to hold her in the way her boyfriend clearly can't.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, honestly, we've joked about this before. Best breakup movie ever, because the dude's just.
Okay, so the double bill is this: Midsommar, forgetting Sarah Marshall. Okay, just because you like that's the double feature that I'm positing forward, because I don't think you can watch another Ari Aster movie after Midsommar, especially if you're at any point Florence Pugh. Danny herself, and but also sometimes we've all been Will Poulter and the other guy, like we've all been arseholes. So it's like,
thank God for Will Poulter in this movie, because you need some amount of levity in this film.
But that's it. But we heard this year, Midsommar's a comedy.
Oh God.
From the mouth of the director and writer himself. And that's because when I saw Midsommar in a theater, me, my flatmate, who I had shown Hereditary to, and this was our first Ari Aster experience together. I was like half a dozen people in the theater. It was like a Wednesday night or something. It wasn't like but all I'll say is there was certainly some people like having their like nachos or whatever, and then very early on, the crunching just fucking stops. It's like for 40 minutes in is the gut punch for Hereditary, and Ari Aster's like, oh yeah, no, you want to fucking feel in the bleak midwinter. Oh god.
Yep.
Murder, suicide, sibling murder, suicide. That's legit. Double murder, suicide. Like that's spoiler alert for Midsommar. But
yes, if you've joined us, here we are, nearly 10 minutes in, and haven't figured out that this is a podcast that's going to spoil the shit out of a movie that's been out for about 4 years now. I can't help you. I can't help you.
Exactly. No. And also, let's be honest, unless you end up on a horror journey later in life, if you haven't seen Midsommar by this point in time now, based on the heat death of the universe as it looms nearer to us, and the fact that people just forget about films, like I feel like Beau is afraid to technically have had the space to be the most talked about shit outside of horror circles. But man, that movie didn't it rubbed people every way. But
yeah, I was in a theater of, it was a matinee in the middle of the week, and there were, myself dead center, an older couple off to the side, and behind me one or two older folks. And by about hour 2, I heard distinct snoring from 2 different directions. Unfortunately,
one guy left and didn't come back.
All
I think
right.
it was maybe about the halfway point. I can't remember if it was the forest or not, but there's a forest, for lack of a better term, dream sequence in Beau's Afraid, but is the whole film a dream? Who fucking knows at this point?
Yeah.
It was all a dream. I used to run naked and I scream. But no.
Bobby Ewing in the shower. Yep. It was all a dream.
Yeah. But that's
sorry, I'm old. But
dude. Yeah, I'm old at heart and fairly young at heart as well at the same time. So, yeah, no apologies needed.
Yeah, that was God. It just absurdist surrealism, comedy, horror, sci-fi film. I don't know what to even begin to call it. It's
welcome to the podcast within a podcast.
Yes.
The only place you'll ever be able to hear about until we bring it up again and again and again, as long as Ari Aster is allowed to make motion pictures. This is Murders with Mertens. Beau is afraid. Beau is afraid. Special episode.
Yep.
And, basically,
wherein A24 backs a dump truck of money up to Ari Aster's house and says, "Do whatever the hell you want," and they never will again.
And no. A24 isn't in the business of. Bear in mind, I watched a great video about A24 recently about, like, why are they so cool though? Why are they the fucking best? By the way, joemedforce.com, at Joe Medforce, Joe Medforce at gmail.com. If anyone from A24 happens to hear this, just know this is the I'm not shooting my shot. This is the shot that you want to take and get the 3-pointer on. That's all I'm saying. Wednesday, July 12th. Anyways, basically,
don't worry, we'll bring that plug back multiple times.
You know we will. So yeah, essentially, I just think that it has always been an overwhelming, incredible experience. Or the 3 times that I've got to do it, and I feel so fucking lucky that I saw Hereditary, Midsommar, and Beau is Afraid in theaters. But like, Hereditary stuck with me. Midsommar affected me. Like it was a very, I think the collective expression of feeling, as depicted in Midsommar, when it's funny, when it hurts, when it's just fucking weird, is, I have no mouth, but I must scream, as I think a lot of the journey that is like legitimately fuck. That's the fucking movie, people. I think everyone should watch films of this caliber and nature, because McDonald's is great. MCU. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Yeah.
But you don't. You need to open it up, because Midsummer's an all-timer to me.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
Yeah. Honestly, people need to take more advantage of the twice yearly half off Criterion sale at Barnes and Noble. You know what I mean? They need to look at some weird ass films from time to time. They need to delve into classics. They need to, not that this is necessarily the end all be all of cinema, but
yeah. If we're saying this, and one of us, if you're watching the video podcast version, if not, hop over from the audio, just like be like, what's he saying? Why is he doing this? My face is half covered in blood. I got Waluigi #1 behind me, and Waluigi Kart 64, and an iMac that I'm sleeping with, and whatever that is. So we are not. This is not an elitist thing. This is not like a snobbish thing. This is not. This is not. We don't yuck on anyone's yums.
Lego Batmobile sitting behind me. Come on.
I literally sold Marvel Lego Star Wars Lego sets in box that I had built and just needed to get rid of to get some money, because they go for good. And I'm just like, I get it. Pokemon cards, selling it out of my car boot. Anyways, yard sale for those across the pond. I just think that variety is a spice of life.
Yes.
And just
and you're going to get that in spades in Beau is Afraid, that's for sure, including a persona endearment near the end, because that's the closest way that I can describe that particular thing. No spoilers there because the film's relatively new, but
no.
But yeah, my first thought was I fought that thing in Mementos.
No, I did not. I just the twisted, prickish, haunted house mirror image of Hereditary and Midsommar in Beau is Afraid and everything else that we know and love and hate and despise and cry and sob and weep and tear and rip into Ari Aster, because actually he's the kid pointing out the dead dogs on the road, and sometimes we all felt like that was us.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Eventually, who knows? But okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to the podcast within a podcast that was Murders with Mertens. Beau is Afraid. Da 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 da.
Yep. If you weren't excited about seeing Beau is Afraid before, well,
tune in next time where we actually discuss it for not 3 hours. And really send the internet running wild. But yeah, the way Midsommar begins and then it proceeds in an interesting. We practice. Actually, do we ever leave Danny's perspective?
Yeah, we get a few moments of Christian hanging out with his bros at the pizza place, and right before he gets the bad phone call. But yeah, just let's comment first of all on this is a film about a super on the nose man named Christian who is basically raped and sacrificed by a cult of pagans.
And that's the back of the Criterion box, isn't it? Yeah, that's
that's right there.
Follow the sacrifice of Christian as he is tortured, loved, and ultimately murdered, burned alive inside the carcass of a bear. I don't know why I went like Jeffrey Rush there, but here we are.
There were shades of Rush there for sure. But that whole beginning it's so dark and it's all dreary and wintry. It just how jarring is that phone ringing in the Arter household, right when they cut from those shots of nature. Yeah,
you know what it reminds me of, and this is just because I had it on the background today while I was showering. I don't really ultimately like watching films on my phone. Usually it's a YouTube video, but if my brain doesn't want to just watch like more gaming videos. The World's End. There is a moment where Edgar Wright has them in the 6th pub where they're talking to the Reverend Green, and the phone rings, and it pierces through the sound design, and it's exactly that. The shock of just a phone ringing in the Midsommar is it sends a chill down your spine if you didn't have one already.
Yeah, and then basically the rest of the film, once we finally leave the States and head to Sweden, it's almost entirely in daylight. The marketing for this film about how it was essentially a horror film set in the daytime was just perfect. Yeah.
And cinematography wise, it feels, once if you're watching it in a theater or with a good screen, doesn't matter the size. Heck, even if you're laying in bed watching it on your phone, actually, who gives a fuck? Your eyes are going to struggle with that light in the same way that they do once
Mm-hmm.
they go under, because there's that. I think that the turn of a camera, the we're going upside down, is a very I love that camera move. Who fucking
Yep.
doesn't? Who doesn't
Well,
love going
Ari
like,
Aster clearly loves that camera move
no,
too.
no. But
Because,
I think that he, in the same way that Get Out did it,
mm-hmm.
or in a similar way, there's a difference between throwing it in there because you're like, yeah, that flavor's fun, but it marks that sea change, that crossing over
Mm-hmm.
into they're already in Sweden, but it's like the Rubicon's crossed past this point,
Right.
and um it will blind you, it will burn you, it will the sun is one of our favorite things. I love the sunshine. I've been out in it all day. But if you stay in it, it will just burn you, and that's exactly what happens at the end. And it's modern folk horror done right, truly right.
Oh
Not that
yeah.
there's right or wrong way, but a lie.
No, it's yeah. Absolutely modern folk horror done right. I can't imagine a story of this subgenre any more perfectly put together than this one. Because at the end of the day, I mean, this was originally supposed to be a slasher type of film, set around a cult in Sweden. But, Aster took things over and was like, no, no. We're going to make something just a little different. And
Was that the actual genesis of it?
yeah, yeah, he could. His quote was that he couldn't find his way into that story. Now, there's bits and pieces of slasher that find their way into this film as people start sort of disappearing and get, picked off. Especially the scene with Josh when he's, taking photos of the Ruby Rotter. All I could think of is Fifth Element and Chris Tucker every time they mentioned that book.
Oh man, GDN
Yeah.
Patagonia does not. He doesn't get off lightly, unfortunately. We don't. We don't. I can't remember if we ultimately see what happens to him, or is he
Well,
one of just the disappeared?
we see his leg.
That was it. That was it. It was a limb.
Yep.
It was a. It was a Skywalker. It was a. It was. It
Yeah.
was. It was a. Yeah.
Well,
Wow.
then, and he's, tossed into the yellow building there at the end with the rest of them too. He's got just a little bit of his body left, but he's mostly just a scarecrow like the rest of them. They're just kind of stuffed. But you get the bit with Connie, where she's clearly being attacked, and you get the reactions of everybody to her scream. That's yeah, I think clearly she only screamed the one time, but you get the cuts of everybody reacting to it, and that's fun. But we never see what happens to what's Connie's fiance's name? Is it Simon? It's not super important.
These are all just names to me, but yes, it is Simon. I'm on the Wikipedia page, and because of course I am.
But I mean, he's clearly still, well, maybe not still alive when Christian finds him in his Blood Eagle state.
Red Eagle.
Yep.
He ran into my knife 10 times.
That the whole Blood Eagle thing with his lungs still pumping away. Now that could just be Christian on the drugs, but because there's a lot of stuff that likes to just pulse away in this movie.
Let's start this portion of the podcast with the fact that Jack Raynor, Christian, in Midsommar, is also the older brother, slightly longer haired, in the motion picture phenomenon that is Sing Street. And he says,
Yeah.
He says these words, no woman can ever truly love a man who listens to Phil Collins. And I just wanted to remind you of that before we tell you that the last time I watched Midsommar, we had mushroom tea, and it was something I wanted to do ever since I first saw it in the theater. But unfortunately, even in England, they don't actually serve mushroom tea at the fucking movies. So, man, those swirls.
I'm sure that was an experience.
No, genuinely, actually, really being able to appreciate the swirling trees, the faces that are made in the background of some of these shots, which you notice and you think it's a problem. You think there's something wrong with the movie, and then you realize that the perspective has never been lost. You're Danny still, and I would argue that from beginning to end, just because we're not following Danny, it's not The Last of Us. Or Resident Evil 4, more accurately. Or even Resident Evil 2, the remake. But best Resident Evil movie, Paul W.S. Anderson. Resident Evil 2, also known as, I think, literally Apocalypse. Anyways,
I can't remember for sure, but I enjoy the first two of his.
No. We have yet to watch the final chapter. It's going to be a slog. I still love the Matrix like glasses toss of the Wesker like that was fucking dumb. But no, I think it's mainly like anyway.
But you can't discount how much money those films have made.
And also they're based on Resident Evil. It ain't Citizen Kane. The idea that people would watch like a B movie recreation of like Jill Valentine like riding in on a fucking motorcycle wearing that fucking skirt with the bob. Yeah, who cares about Alice? Who cares about, Mia Jovovich is Paul W.S. Anderson's wife, and hell yeah, he's going to be putting her in movies as the main person. Leela Lu for life.
Lulu Dallas Multipass.
I think we all take adaptations of anything too seriously. Like if the actual Last of Us adaptation had actually turned out to be as a form of subterfuge, that SNL skit where it's like gritty Mario Kart. It was like the last of Us, and it's like the blue shell has been hunting us for days. I would have loved it because all the gamers would have been so very, very upset. Anyways, yeah. The long story short is, hot damn, Jack Raynor, what range, and
I love how much he wanted to be just humiliated and embarrassed, or rather, his character, how he pushed for it. It works.
It's that like, please forgive me, headphone listeners, audio listeners, watchers, viewers. It's the clap, which even so, they probably even blocked it out because these mics are just they're born this way.
They do. But yeah, man,
someone's literally like, wake the fuck up, and he's so wrapped up in everything that's him.
Oh yeah,
and not. Actually.
And it just makes him spiral even more.
No, it really it is such a gradual downward spiral, this film, like from Danny sitting on that hill. And I think that her sister's face in that mirror, the phantom of her behind her in red.
Yep.
When Danny literally has a panic attack and runs in there, like just all of it.
And then runs out in the best Evil Dead homage ever. I love the pulsing, pounding music as she's running through that woods. It's so much fun.
Yeah. And I don't think I ever even considered it to be an Evil Dead homage. That's how much I think if you open yourself up to it, you will be with this movie. Perhaps in a way that you weren't with Hereditary, because that is that's like a, you know, this kind of like Beetlejuice model village. You know,
yeah,
like literally, Hereditary is that, and Ari Aster is Beetlejuice, Beetlegeist. That voice. Midsommar is where they say, you know that Simpsons, the alien from like whichever, you know, the
Kodos and Krang.
no, not the bickering ones, but like or is it Mr. Burns when he's like a spectry alien? And he's like, and Homer immediately goes, "Kill him!" That's fucking Ari Aster as far as I'm concerned. Like it's just that, like, yeah, you know, it's like I can't be. It because that is the whiplash experience of watching any of these films, and then you just have to sit with those emotions.
Oh yeah,
until the next thing jolts you back, and legitimately it is and it just makes you tilt your head Michael Myers style. You know, you're like, wow, where are we going?
Oh yeah, you are experiencing something in an Ari Aster film. It's, you know, and then just how much you have to let it marinate with yourself for days, weeks, however long afterwards. I'm still trying to come to terms with Beau is Afraid, honestly. And it's been more than a month. But yeah. Oh God. There's some really great match cuts in this film. You know, you got the perfect one where Danny's freaking out in the boy's apartment and she has to run off to the restroom, and you get the overhead shot where she steps into the restroom and it's the restroom on the plane. And then later in the film, you got Josh in the daylight sitting on his bed, and it just snaps to him at night. And it just, there's some cool stuff going on with those cuts.
Okay. So essentially, think about it like this. I forgot that there's literally, of course, all the Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice models, of course, that Tony Collette's doing.
Sure.
This is the film where Ari Aster says, "Let's go to the fucking woods," and then he just like takes you on the journey through the woods, and he's got it on the wooden plank like in Evil Dead, except he's taking his time with it, and he's showing you, ooh, in the bleak midwinter, your sister will kill herself, and both your parents. Isn't love grand? And then you're kind of like veering through it because, like, genuinely,
Midsummer the musical. It's
yeah. You do it. There is a musical quality to the exploration of just void, panic, depression, sad, the depths of how shit fucking life can be, legitimately.
And it doesn't help when you're getting gaslit by your significant other through the entire stint of this film. It's
Christian, Jack Rayner, we loved you in Sing Street, but you're breaking our hearts. Like, oh my God, I can't even with this guy from the moment I was just like, if don't be friends with anyone who's like, oh, Christian was right. Like, no. He was not doing, but also, but what I will say for this as well is that if you're in your mid-20s early 20s, and there's a detachment in his performance, but also he feels powerless, but he's there. Danny isn't alone, but he cannot engage with her emotions and even comfort her. He's not. There is no comfort.
Yeah.
It is
He,
abject disconnection. It's
he
pulsed.
he knows all the marks that he needs to hit. He knows what he's supposed to be doing, but he's just not a fully formed enough person to be what she needs. And
but also, like, I think there is a capacity to deal with stuff and not. But it's like he also doesn't have the ability to say what he really thinks and feels. We know this as he later on. Oh yeah, no, I'd love to do it on the Haga too. He can't. He doesn't have his own thoughts and feelings that he's strong enough. He's on the fence the entire time. He's like sitting on the fence, and eventually it impales him. And it is that detachment is real too. Like those feelings are valid. Like he's not a villain. He's a human fucking being, as Danny is, as all of them are. Like I think that there are strange qualities to Ari Aster's films, but I don't feel as though he has when characters are human, he writes, directs them, and gets performances from them and knows who's going to give them. Where it's like, maybe I didn't just see a fucking person in this community jump down off of a fucking white cliff.
yeah, let's talk about that scene for a little bit.
Yes. And
holy crap.
Smoking. This has been your regularly scheduled intermission. Yeah. Let's bring. It's probably bright. We'll just leave it that for now. So yeah.
That's okay. That works really well with this film in general.
I would also like a copy of that tape from the past like 2 to 3 minutes. Can I if I contact youtube.com/murders with Mertens and go to essentially Joe Mertens on Twitter, can I get a copy of the tape? If I like follow you, I like, share, and subscribe. Murders with Mertens, podcast services all around the world. Yeah, you got me with the tape, right? Yeah, you'll send it to me.
I think we may actually have that. I don't know if I can make that happen on VHS.
We'll work out the details later.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
So when we last when we were last watching Midsommar, we were at wake up and watch old people end their lives.
Yeah,
as part of our celebrations.
Yeah, you get that scene where they're all going to bed the evening prior, and they're talking about what they're going to be doing the next day, and there's this very knowing look on Josh's face, except he's thinking this isn't going to be the real deal. Nobody is. But ultimately, yeah, in this society, once you hit 72, it's time to end that life and sacrifice yourself. And well, this is like Danny's awakening at this point. She doesn't think it is, but she thinks she's just going to have another panic attack and flee. But no, you can see it in her face as all of this is happening. It's a lot.
It really is. And I think that, so my granddad is 95.
Okay.
And like 95 years old. And so every week or two when we go to Sunday lunch, like, you know, I go pick them up in my car, take them to my parents' place. We all live fairly local, and it's amazing. Ever since Granny had a stroke, early pandemic, had to go into a care home, and unfortunately passed away, you know, a year or so ago. I've become closer with my granddad than I ever have been. But there's some weeks I see him, and I know that he may well not be alive to see my movie, right? You know, to sit with me at the premiere and fall asleep during it, I hope, because it's not really for him. He's a reverend, he's a retired priest, man of God, and he's one of the coolest motherfuckers I know. I love you, granddad. And yeah, I think sometimes
That's cool, man.
So basically, I see him, struggle. I help him get into my car, which isn't like some, fucking like big truck, and I'm like, I don't want to get to that age. Like I just and I bet there's some days where he is living the way he has to live, which is alone a lot of the time, but he's got help now, and it's like, you know what? I don't know. He would never tell me, but if it was me, I know I'd be like, I'm gonna jump off this fucking cliff. I'm just gonna step forward. Like, it's because I honestly think that if you are of sound mind, and when I say that, I mean me. If you say, I don't want to live like this anymore because it hurts too much, then you should be given that right. You know, like, it's just, and that is something which is so hard for Western culture to understand, UK included, because all we do is,
dude, I'm from Michigan, the home of Jack Kevorkian. It's it's a very difficult idea for people to wrap their heads around.
Like my uncle Gerard, who lives in Kalamazoo, Michigan. He doesn't sound 88. I'll tell you that much. His voice, silky smooth. The voice for 40 something years of screw it. Basically, the college they have there, WMU.
Western.
Yep. The voice of Western Michigan University Radio, Gerard McLeod.
Okay. And
he is still, like, retired, obviously. You know, he's got those silky smooth tones. He looks like Cary Grant if he was still with us. And he sounds like, you know, James Earl Jones grew up in Michigan, you know? That's Gerard McLeod. And he is at the point where it's just like, I went into the bathroom when they were visiting recently, and it's like, I've never seen so many orange prescriptions, you know? And you know what? I think that you calling it Danny's Awakening is incredible to me, because it's like, you know,
like, you get Connie and
she is horrified, but she can't look away.
Oh yeah, everybody else is either, you know, retching, or you get Connie and Simon like shouting at everybody to stop, and you know, but she's transfixed. Also, shout out in this scene to a little bit of foreshadowing of the Blood Eagle. It's not the same person that it happens to, but you've got Josh standing there having his little whatever about what is happening, and the plant behind him is like the perfect set of wings. It's I don't know, it stuck out like a sore thumb to me.
Wow. I never honestly even have seen that in the 3 times I've seen this film now, 3 or 4 at least.
And you also got to realize, in an Ari Aster film, almost everything is intentional. There is very little that isn't. So I'm sure that was planned.
I honestly think that the idea that people like everyone's got intent, no matter what film it is, intent is there. From Transformers: Rise of the Beasts to Fast X to Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse to 2024 Best Picture winner Beau is Afraid. Razzie noms out the fucking wazoo.
I'm sure.
I know that if and when Beau is Afraid is nominated for Razzies, Ari Aster is going to be like, "We fucking did it, boys!"
Yup.
Because you know I would be. And I think that actually, as completely fucked and difficult to watch as the movie's been up to that point, you're feeling something, even if you actually want to walk out and not watch anymore. You're either going to feel sick or you're not going to be able to look away. And that's, I think, ultimately, like by that point in any motion picture, because we're at least an hour and 30 in, if not, we're an hour.
Yeah.
The director's cut scooches close to 3 hours. By that point, the first fifth of that movie, the first frames of that film, the first scene that you experience in Midsommar, you know if you're in or you're out. And if you're out, you're out, and that's okay. But
now I understand. I understand people being critical of the film at this point. Like, why are these people still there? Why didn't they all get up and leave at this point? And that's just, well, first of all, it's a horror film and you're not going to have a plot if people make reasonable decisions, right?
No. But also, they are stranded in the middle of nowhere in a foreign country where they know no one except the people who have brought them there.
Yep.
And they don't need to show an escape attempt. They don't need to. They don't have to. They don't have to. There's no Blair Witch scene, right? There's no like running through the forest and Robin Hood and Little John running through the forest. Please don't kill me, crazy Scandinavian cult. That we don't need it, and we don't need it, and it doesn't matter. Like, I think contrivances, and I love the way people watch horror films sometimes and are like, oh, why didn't they just fucking call them on their cell phone? Or they just hung up the phone and scream?
Do you honestly think you'd have service out there?
Movie's fucking done. Don't need Scream 5, don't need Scream 6. They just don't pick up the phone. Who the fuck cares?
Yeah. Those are people that have no joy in life, do they?
I know, because Scream 5 and 6 are two of my favorite films of recent years. I love them so much. It's just
they're a ton of fun.
Oh, Riot, Ready or Not, biatch. You kind of just have this, and it is as delicious as it is devastating. And then you only go further in as the cult is explored by William Jackson Harper, by Will Poulter in his way, and by Christian and
don't piss on the ancestral log. Yes, nice Ren and Stimpy shout out there.
Dude, don't do it. Don't take a pee there. I know you're really British, but still don't fucking do it. Oh, no, actually, I think Will Poulter is one of those actors who has fooled me. I always think he's British, and actually, he wasn't necessarily in Game of fucking Thrones, was he? No, he is British. Yeah. Oh, fuck. He's 1 year younger than me. Look at what he's done. Oh, okay. He first gained recognition for his role as Eustace Scrubb in the fantasy adventure film The Chronicles of Narnia, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. That is the excerpt on Will Poulter's Google About, and that is fucking hilarious to me, because no one remembers that he was Eustace Scrubb in the fantasy adventure film The Chronicles of Narnia, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader.
Let alone the film itself.
My favorite part, yes. I love Will Poulter. He was, oh my god, did you see him in the new Guardians movie? Oh, We're the Millers.
Right.
Riot. And, Midsommar. Oh my god, he's such a fucking dick. But actually, I loved him best as his role in Eustace Scrubb in the fantasy adventure film The Chronicles of Narnia, The Voyage of the Dawn Treader. Really, I think he needed to be more recognized for it. And I did that because, when you get there's no spiders around here, but like, Charlie horse. That's the terminology, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just call it. Fuck me! I'm trying to talk about motion pictures. What the fuck? Why would you do that to me, leg? So yeah. Anyway.
Nope. It's a traitor.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, no. Fucking, kill it. I genuinely think that there is a lull in the second act of Midsommar where you might start to feel the length of the film.
Yeah.
And
I could see that.
And I felt it, but also I think it's because I felt the weight of it. And there is a breathing collective that is shared by the Haga, and it's like the wind, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think actually, if you think about it from that perspective and look at and take yourself outside of our lead characters, the Americans,
just game yourself in there.
if you let yourself be in Europe and look at them, Simon and Connie, very British names as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Connie Huck. Have you ever heard of Connie Huck?
No.
One of the most bangable Blue Peter presenters of all time. At any rate, Connie Huck, I hope you're well. How's the family? So,
Yep, that's the one that'll get clicked out, that'll blow up like crazy. But
especially if we choose to cut it with the children's television show, like just fucking put that on the top, just sort of like bam, 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 bam. Anyways, back to the we've scored, and we have drank of the mushroom tea and also witnessed horrific acts of cyclical ceremonial self-sacrifice.
And at that point, don't you wish you watched Austin Powers with the kids? It's so fucking random when I can't remember the character's name.
I love God.
Yeah, the kids are gonna go watch Austin Powers. Do you want to join them? I was talking with friends yesterday about how if we were to go off and start our own little commune and everything, that's where you have to really enjoy being a collector of physical media, because you're gonna need it.
Oh my God, yeah. Like, the fucking currency that is, this is in our, when you join us, come on. Like, if you get that and you've got a Blu-ray player, or even just a DVD player, let's be honest, DVDs, the peak. Standard definition, not that bad ultimately. I watched The Hills Have Eyes the other night, the remake. It's a bit much. I didn't quite feel the same way I wanted to, but I haven't seen Haute Tension, so maybe I'll go Take on me, Alexandra. Aha. Yeah. I
So
just
there's a perfect time period of right around 2003, 2004 up till almost 2010, where people were experimenting with a lot of digital video cameras, and the quality of the picture is absolute shit. And if you happen to own that on DVD, there's no reason to own a 4K because it's always going to look the same.
That's it though. I'm right there with you. That actually, no one's got a 4K screen, and if you do, you got more money than sense. Put some of it to charity, like an 8K screen. Cut it in half, and then sell it and do some good in the world, because you don't need it. Go to the fucking movies, please do. Support this dying fucking star that is the theatre going experience for films like Hereditary, Midsommar, and Beau is afraid they're playing Ari Aster off because he's filleting the microphone again.
Yeah. Oh God, it's happening.
Anyways, so I can actually fit my whole fist in my mouth, but that's for my next trick. So
there you go.
Yeah, I do not understand this movie. It's a real head scratcher. But no, where were we in the plot? Everybody.
I mean, we've been jumping around quite a bit actually, but
I love it. I love it.
But ultimately,
key thoughts, feelings.
Yeah, you get the lovely dream sequence where she thinks everybody's abandoning her and taking off in the middle of the night. And doesn't she see her sister in the car as well? I think she does.
To be honest, she probably does, and I didn't even. Yeah, it's a lot.
But yeah, you get the exhaust coming out of her mouth as well before she snaps awake. It's oof. Yeah. What else about Danny? Danny, I wanted to bring up how she grows in this film, obviously. She achieves catharsis. That's one of the big things in this film. But starting off, I mean, she's just a fucking pleaser, right? That's all she does. She lives to make other people happy at her own sacrifice. And she lets people walk all over her and convince her to do all sorts of shit that she doesn't want to do. Like when they first get to the field and they're going to do mushrooms and she doesn't want to at first. And then, Christian at first is like, okay, yeah, well, I'll wait and, we'll do it together. And then he lets his buddies bully him into doing it at the same time, which in turn makes him bully her into doing it at the same time. And then she has a horrible trip.
I honestly think that, I honestly think this. I honestly think that. I did that a couple times already. The communication between those you live with, like, love, just genuinely, relationships are fucking hard.
Mm-hmm.
Relationships are really, really tough. Maintaining communication between two people is a challenge, and always will be if you want to keep that connection there. But it's like Danny is not capable of putting herself first because she's staring into the void and can't look away.
Mm-hmm.
And Christian should have honestly, like, their relationship shouldn't have progressed to the point it did. But you can't go back, and it's like they're both there, and then there's that moment is you sort of kind of.
I mean, you see how she's like a perfect mark for this this commune, this society, this in that she is so willing to be molded into what anybody else wants her to be.
I think that the narrative arc for Florence Pugh in Midsommar is finally taking agency. The face that we see her pull, fast forward to the end of the movie, is actually one of I could get used to this. And it can be read in so many different ways. But actually,
but it's her like embracing the idea of being, you know, a queen, even though it's kind of a queen for a day type thing.
No. That's her new family, man. That's it. That's it. She is.
I don't know, because there's a good number of days left in this festival. I want to see what happens after those credits stop rolling over the next several days.
Midsommar 2.
Danny's revenge.
I know, hydrokinetic boogaloo, you know, like I honestly think that you could see like the kind of like Danny's head going from here, facing upwards, smiling, and you know, like you just go under with her. You see how much lower we can go, and now I'm thinking about it. I actually just want that movie. I want to see the May Queen be the Killer Queen, you know, Babysitter 2, Killer Queen, underrated, McG, baby, Charlie's Angels for life. The Babysitter is one of my favorite Netflix movies.
Yeah, it's
Samara Weaving is a delight, and
she's so perfect.
As where she was before or during Ready or Not. I've actually no, I think it was a couple of years before. But yeah,
I think you're right.
It's great. Queen. So, Midsommar is actually a difficult movie to talk about, which is probably why I'm going on so many tangents. Because if you truly delve deep into this movie, I wrote an article that is no longer online, but I think I do have a copy of, where I began to explore how much horror was helping me process my mental health and my emotions, and why all of a sudden I'd gone from may the force be with you, I love Star Wars, I love superheroes, I love escapism. Actually, introspection is what you get with Ari Aster. And
with a lot of horror in general. It's that's why you hate to hear about this mental health and horror documentary that's like imploding. Have you heard about this thing?
No.
Big Kickstarter. I know tons of people involved with it, and who knows if it'll ever see the light of day. Some people are thinking this Kickstarter was something of a scam. I don't know all the details, but
mental health and horror, a documentary, is that?
That's the one. And I know like Prince Jackson. I know he was actually interviewed for it. He's still hopeful that the thing's going to come out someday. But yeah, man, horror in general is there's so much going on that your typical film critic just does not see because it doesn't fit into this neat little box. That's why I'm a big fan of people who are actually fans of a specific genre being the ones who do the damn review for an outlet. Because all somebody's going to do if they don't like a specific genre is shit on the ways that it doesn't conform to what they see as a good film.
No. And that's it. I think that perspective is ultimately valid as well. Because it's not for everyone.
Oh, no, absolutely.
And And if you, right now, watching or listening to this, wherever you are, find a mirror and just look into the mirror and stare at yourself, which is what is happening when I'm looking down, and just like truly look at yourself and see how uncomfortable you get in 30 seconds. Because actually, it's really fucking tough to look in the mirror for longer than that if you don't think you're God's gift, you know? And I think that's the same. It is holding a mirror up to your soul and then telling people about it
Mhm.
is I really hope this mental health and horror documentary comes out because actually
Oh,
I
me
think
too.
I don't I'm hearing about it just today, but in another life I would be the guy making it, you know, and I but yeah I honestly yeah not to like like slash through the fourth wall. How long have we been recording for, Joe?
Looks like between the two parts, slightly more than an hour.
Cool. Um, how do you feel about going through the rest of the movie, you, and I'll pick up on your thoughts and interject my own, and then
Yeah.
when we're done with the things we still want to talk about in the film, we round, you know, swing your partner around and round, 5, 6, 7, 8. My boots scooting, baby is driving me crazy. My obsession for a western dance floor days. My rodeo Romeo, cowboy guy from head to toe. Gonna make you mine, better get in line. 5, 6, 7, 8. We call it a day.
Sounds like a solid plan.
Beautiful,
Um,
beautiful, beautiful.
I mean, just like even looking at the plot listed out here on like Wikipedia, um, obviously we've got the murder suicide at the beginning. Incredibly brutal. Yes.
I don't
Yeah,
watch
Mike definitely cut that out.
the visual though. The visual though.
Yeah.
No,
Blah, 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 blah. But yeah, brutal start to this film. And then you think, again, like we talked about before, all the marketing of this film being a horror film set in the daylight, right? And then you think as you're starting this movie, is Aster just trolling us? It's all at night. It's all in the winter. What the hell?
I honestly, it was so interesting. I watched that first trailer and then did not watch anything else. And the same for Beau is Afraid before I went to see it. And the same for Hereditary without even trying to. And I think ultimately, if A24 is putting it on a big screen, long story short is, if you're still listening, is there anyone out there? Please give me a sign. Then live and breathe it if you want to do that. Watch every trailer, every teaser, every marketing piece, buy the fucking t-shirt, write the theme tune, Simpsons, that you enjoy it your way. But I think enjoy it your way after you've watched it, going in knowing as little as possible. The 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 Down Under Hand movie, whatever the fuck that one's called, that's coming out.
Oh, that looks really interesting, but I don't want to know anything about it until I get to see it. God, what's it called? I can't think. But it looks cool as hell, right?
On either. Hold on.
God, what is that movie called? It's I am so blanking on that. Yeah, nothing like dead air in the middle of a podcast, but This is me looking on my phone. Shit, what is that movie called?
Groovy. So, basically, just no. That's the nice thing. Ari Aster is trolling you, and he's doing it. He's fallen with style. Buzz Lightyear, you know.
Right.
Hey.
Yeah. It feels like you're in the wrong movie in the beginning of this film, and wow, you thought Toni Collette could wail through grief. Oh, you weren't ready for the pew. Her wailing that Christian can hear from the street as he approaches her apartment.
I mean, it is. Yeah, it cuts right through you in the same way that
that phone in the beginning,
that phone in the beginning, and the I'm just going out to get some supplies scream from Toni Collette that happens off screen. And every time that Joaquin Phoenix, Best Actor winner, Beau is Afraid, Oscars 2024, screams and runs naked through the woods and the city and the fucking apocalypse. Like, it's that same scream, isn't it? It's that same scream. Exactly
yeah, it's a brutal start to this film, not the least of which is seeing her sister's, dead face with basically an exhaust pipe duct taped to her face and vomit everywhere and dead eyes. It's pretty brutal.
Yeah, not the one. Alex, we're gonna go for not the fucking one. For 5, Alex. Thanks very much.
Yeah. So yeah, clearly she's destroyed. And we get the title cards and all that fun stuff. But we were very, very easily introduced to what a dirtbag Christian is.
He is just a bag. He's empty. There's dirt in there for sure, but also it's like he's looking through the bag because he thinks it's full of stuff and he can't find anything, and he certainly doesn't want to show it to you, that's it.
He's so empty he can't even figure out what he's going to do his dissertation on. He has to copy somebody else's idea, I guess. It's
do you remember the guy who I forget the name of now, who had a substantial YouTube following, worked for, and then ended up being a host on the Nintendo Voice Chat podcast? Like, he was their new Nintendo guy. This is a few years back, and
the guy that was plagiarizing reviews. Yes. I can't think of the guy's name, but I know it all blew up around the release of Dead Cells, right?
IGN Dead Cells plagiarism. YouTuber Boomstick Gaming. This made the BBC motherfucking news. bbc.co.uk/news technology 455555555 error.
And I remember right before all that shit blew up, him being on Kind of Funny when they were doing a stream for
Mario Tennis. Mario Tennis Ace.
Wasn't that the birth of Johnny Ace too? It may have been.
What is the name of this guy? Why is his name?
I guess he's just been scrubbed from the internet. I don't know. Much like we can't figure out the name of the Australian horror movie with the hand thing.
Who cares? But also, Alex A, Boomstick Gaming YouTube, the guy who was plagiarized, said his ideal outcome did not include the IGN writer losing his job. As for the writer, this was his first video review for IGN. It is slightly understandable to seek knowledge from someone who has done multiple reviews before, but it should not have been replicated in this manner. I foster no ill will towards him and do not encourage the firing of this gentleman. I have been unemployed for 6 months now and would not wish this burden on anyone. I do not know much about the writer, but hopefully he finds a career soon. That guy had a wife and fucking kids. I remember, like, his apology video, and I remember being on the side of, what a fucking bag of shit. How dare you? You're a Nintendo guy. You got to be the Nintendo guy for IGN. Play Mario Tennis Aces with Johnny fucking Ace. Like, kind of funny, man. Lily Salvador, a belle of the ball of the internet and formerly of IGN and Nintendo Voice Chat, one of the biggest Juan Luigi #1 stands on the internet. She was there with him. They were friends.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not friends anymore. But also, it hurt her. Like,
I'm sure it did.
And also, Boomstick Gaming has an Army of Darkness poster behind him alongside Dark Souls 3 and what looks like a poster of there's a PlayStation 4 game and I think it's Bloodborne on his shelf. Like, this is like a video, like a still from it's been on YouTube since 2006 and began to find a following in 2018. I think he probably found a following a bit before 2018. Anyways, no, my point is that every character's thoughts, deeds, and actions, words, and beautiful, dirty, rich, horrific, terrified actions, they're understandable. Well, we've all been in a position where it's like, the fucking paper's due. Like, that anxiety sucks. It's the night before and you're fucking pounding energy drinks because you want to graduate. Like, I can't blame him for trying to steal someone else's idea. He went about it the wrong way. He could have just said, hey, man, I would love... No, I don't want to yuck on your nut, but it's just like the communication and the
Yeah, he went about it in an incredibly shitty way.
But also, sometimes it is better to beg forgiveness than ask permission in that kind of scenario. Because actually, maybe you feel as though if you open up that conversation with the person, they would never say yes. You know, like, you might have that fear overriding you. It's just like, actually, William Jackson Harper doesn't want to even hear what I have to say because I think so low of myself. I do not identify with fucking Christian. But I do. But what I do is I feel and wish for and have literally wanted the Haga around me, crying with me, sobbing, feeling that emotion that I cannot scream out of my own soul after witnessing the person who I thought was there to support me drugged up, fucked up, doing the wrong shit with anyone. That is the emotional crux of Midsommar for me. Is that moment, Danny welcomed into the family.
Mm-hmm.
They've clothed her, they've fed her, they've given her a place to sleep.
Yep.
They have embraced her without ever touching her and hugging her and saying it's going to be okay. I know what you're going through.
Yeah.
More than Christian ever does at the beginning of the movie.
God, yeah.
Because he can't do it.
Wow. Yeah, I can't remember who made this point. So I can't shout them out, but just the fact that you look at her wardrobe throughout, basically the first 3/4 of the film, it's all baggy and ill-fitting, and
it's blues and grays. She does not feel pretty
Exactly.
because of where she is in life before
Yeah,
the phone
it's
rings.
probably what you would be wearing if you were in a deep depression because of your sister's murder suicide of your family. But
That's where she is before the phone call. Before, like,
yeah, she is actually wearing one of those. Yeah.
because she is emailing her sister and
Mm-hmm.
trying to be there for someone who is too far gone. And like, fuck.
Yeah.
Whether it's someone you met in the street and you vibe with them and you had a chat and you were like, hey, let's hang out some another time. If you start getting those fucking messages, but if it's actually if it's your family, your
Yeah, that
sister
is
who
dark.
lives at home, yeah. And I think that hey, here comes the sun. Here comes the sun.
But again, Christian's
It's
such a
all right.
fucking dirtbag that he's like, you're letting her walk all over you. You're letting her do this to you. It's if she hadn't called him and listened to him and let him talk her into, just waiting for a response, she probably would have called the fucking cops at some point. And there's a possibility her parents at least would still be alive.
Oh, I had the boom mic. That's okay. Hold on.
Nope, we can still hear you.
No. It's just I just need to bring it. Like, oh, we got this. Yeah. Oh, this movie is a lot, and I recommend that you have someone who can just cuddle you if if you. No, sorry. Hold on. It wasn't in the frame. Yeah. Just like just like hold the boom arm, and if your arms start to hurt, just know it's still got you. And basically,
Somebody can be that Harga for you.
like that. No, but we all need a fucking hugger, man. We all need a hug. We all need a hug, and we all need a hugger. Sometimes, actually,
Yup.
Those days where actually you just. It doesn't matter if you deal with anxiety, depression, or anything. Like, if you don't have those extreme emotions, we all have bad fucking days. And some days you just want to roll the car windows down and be like, I'm mad. Yeah. And that's okay. That's okay. But actually, it's much better when you've got someone in the car next to you fucking belting it out because it means something to them too. And you both feel it when you sing it. Like, I think that hell, Danny was meant to dance to her death, and actually she found life. She found light. And that's exactly what happens. The movie starts in the darkest place possible, and then burns the goddamn house right down. And the future's bright. The future's Florence Pugh. It's
You're
just
goddamn right it is.
She is crowned a May Queen of gender stereotypes, and she cackles and laughs and maniacally welcomes the fire to the bear that has been on her back all this fucking time, and just says, "Oh nay nay. You will not judge me for showing off my fucking body. Get fucking wrecked." Exactly.
Yep.
She's a powerhouse. Also, the Florence Pugh musical must be in the works because she can fucking sing, girl. I didn't see the Zach Braff movie that I think came and went with Morgan Freeman and Florence Pugh. Zach Braff written and directed. That Florence Pugh and Zach Braff broke up. It's like, hey girl, trauma's real bad. How you living? It's like Midsommar, but I guess a bit lighter and more naturalistic.
I think almost anything could be lighter and more naturalistic than Midsommar.
Morgan Freeman in. Oh no, that's the problem actually. If you search Morgan Freeman, Shawshank 7, Bruce Almighty, A Good Person. That's what the movie's called. Yeah, A Good Person. Sorry, A Good Person. The working title was Not Motherfucking Christian. Anyways, yeah.
Yeah. I think when we're introduced to Pele, in a more real sense, when, they're, it's like 6 months later or whatever, and they're in the boys' apartment, and, this is, right before they're on the plane, right? And he's already kind of, planting those seeds of, family and, coming together and having people around you. And obviously this is all the ploy to, get these people there for, semi-nefarious purposes.
I know. And all this from the former Minister of Sports of Brazil, Edson Arantes do Nascimento, better known by his nickname Pele, was a Brazilian professional footballer who played as a forward, widely regarded as one of the greatest players of all time.
Honestly, it's all I could think of every time they said the guy's name, but
that's soccer, also known as association football for you fucking heathens across the pond.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Here we call it Green Street, Elijah Wood, Vinnie Jones, Mean Streets, bitch. Basically, in addition to being one of the most successful and popular sports figures of the 20th century, Pele was also hey, I'm going to lead you horses to water. You're going to have to drink because you're all fucking fodder as far as we're concerned. We're going to have us a good time. We need to bring in people. And if one of you sticks around, then let's have a hoedown.
Yeah, it's
everyone gets what they deserve. Danny.
Oh, yes.
Everyone gets what they deserve. That's what I love. There's no judgment in the bloodshed. Except there is actually. They're like, you know what? You don't even get to live to 72 and jump off a fucking cliff.
Nope, they are absolutely going to literally skin the fool. The asshole who's the comic. Yeah.
Fuck that shit. I met a human being in person. This is not a fucking bit. A couple months ago, he went to the Ukraine in December of the war was a thing, and said £1 pints YOLO. And then when I was like, hey, no, we are literally at the Eurovision party for the country you are making a fucking light joke about. Fuck your dark tourist shit. Speak for yourself. Tell me something. And he just answered my retort with questions. I pulled him up on his shit. I was like, actually, you know what? Probably shouldn't say, if I'm at someone's party and I insult the host, that's a dick move. Eurovision could not be hosted in the Ukraine because of the war that's still ongoing there. And this guy was just like, £1 pints YOLO about an active war zone that he visited. He supported the tourism industry. Fuck that. Just donate. Like, no. And to a lesser extent, Simon and Lottie. No, not Lottie. Simon and Connie. Huck. Lupita. Just everyone has a reason to be there, except Danny is the only one there for the right reason.
Right.
Because she's lost and she needs to find a new home.
Yeah. I mean, I hope she does. I hope things don't go sideways in those next several days of the festival. Who knows what shenanigans they get up to, but maybe she has to eat more herring. Who knows? But
no. I love the art housey way that the film ends, right?
Yeah, the Frankie Valli song, yeah.
Copper affair. But actually, it should have just been like it's gonna be May. You know, like I honestly feel as though like if they had just broken into like, you know, oops, Ari Aster did it again, full blown musical song and dance number. For oh no, the zombies. It's the time of the
There you go.
season for love. No, that would have been a fucking banger, but yeah, no.
No, I think the Frankie Valli choice was a good one. Yeah, yeah.
I will say I can't even think of that song because you know what I have in my head and will always have in my head is the song that is played at the end of Hereditary. You know,
yeah.
You know, it's like Carole King, maybe,
or Joni Mitchell, or
Joni Mitchell. Oh my god, yeah. Soundtrack.
Is it Both Sides Now? Is that the one that's
both sides now? Yes, it's both sides now. Yes.
But I think it's somebody else's recording of it. I don't think it's actually Joni Mitchell. It's somebody else who was very
Judy Collins.
Okay.
Both sides now.
But yeah, Aster has excellent taste in music for his end credits. It's rather perfect. But yeah. I just hope she's having a good time there in Sweden. Oh yes. Oh, can we talk about a little nice nod to Hereditary? It's towards yes. It's towards the end of the film. Christian is high as a fucking kite, and it's like shortly after the clap that just sends him spiraling even more. And Maya gets up from the other side of the table, and you have the light that's shining on her. And it's, to me, it's just like Pyman's little light that's shining all over the place in Hereditary.
I bet that Ari Aster's favorite comedy of all time is The Shining. No. That's what he does, doesn't he? The Shining, written and directed by Ari Aster. The Shining Part 2, Shine On You Crazy Diamond, written and directed by Ari Aster. And then The Shining Part...
That definitely cut out.
I got mommy issues. I got daddy issues. My name is Joaquin Phoenix, and I'm gonna run naked screaming. Written and directed by Oscar winner Ari Aster. The reality of it is that nothing is true and everything is possible. So I honestly feel as though we've been coming to a natural close, and to be honest, not actually skipping a beat. There is a daughter of the cult, a sightseer, the artist, who it's like if Harmony Korine made it was like, you know what, Harmony, go wild. Just let's gummo this.
Midsummer forever.
Look at all my shit. Look at all my shit. Yeah. Midsummer forever.
Yup. Oh, that could be good and fucked up.
Every time I try to fly, I fall without my wings. I feel so small. I guess hit me, baby, one more time. No, fuck. I need to rewatch Spring Breakers, yo. We're in the summer, but I got to see that in a theater without who Harmony Korine was. I also went to watch it with my sister, who's 2 years younger than me, because we were like, fuck it, let's go. This is how close my sister and I used to be. We went to watch Only God Forgives.
Oh, God.
The Place Beyond the Pines. Because we're like, fuck yeah, we love Ryan Gosling, right? Nicholas Winding Refn drives a pretty fucking cool picture.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And then you got to hear Kristen Scott Thomas say the words "cum dumpster." Yep. Only God Forgives. That's a film.
Fuck, I need to rewatch it. I forgot that Under the Cherry Moons, Kristen Scott Thomas was in. Motherfucking.
Yes. Speaking of people with mommy issues.
Let's be honest. You know, whether you're a daddy or whether you're a daddy or whether you're a mommy or whether you are yummy. Let's be real. Hit the 30-second thing for that one. Make it first. Yeah, clip that shit. Oh man, I miss Twitch. Yeah, James Gunn, Edgar Wright, Sam Raimi, George Lucas, Steven Spielberg, all the greats, Ari Aster, Rob Zombie, Repo the Genetic Opera. I forgot who did that one.
It's one of the Saw directors, right?
Let's do the time warp again. Rocky Horror Picture Show. Every great motion picture that's ever been made, and even all the shit ones too. Everyone's just trying to work through something. Even if it's just the next day to get the paycheck. Ka-ching, Roger Corman.
Scream 3 is Roger Corman.
Exactly. I just think that it's always nice to feel that something is being done for the love of it.
Mm-hmm.
And actually you don't make Hereditary, Midsommar a lot, and then Beau is Afraid without loving every single part of doing it all. And the best part is that Ari Aster wrote and directed these movies, and we talked a lot about him, and I can't name the producers and everyone else who helps him along the way, but he is an auteur, he's a filmmaker, but he could not do what he has done on his own. And I just want to take a moment. Stars, Burning Bright, cast, crew, everyone keeping it light and dark. A24 and everyone who's ever worked on an Ari Aster picture, or honestly, any film ever. Thank you for what you do, because we shouldn't need a post-credit scene to sit and appreciate what we've just witnessed.
No, I've gotten to a point in my life where anytime I see a film in a theater, unless there is a bathroom emergency, I'm going to be sitting there through the credits. I think it's just a little respectful in a certain way to actually sit there and pick people out. It's
no. But also just to appreciate, it's like, it's feast or famine, and all of those affect dozens upon hundreds, thousands of people every year. And like, I don't think enough people actually. It is so difficult for me when I see the light of someone's phone.
Oh yeah.
Or their fucking Apple Watch. And I'm not even it's like, I get it, because I'm the kid who if I'd seen the Super Mario Brothers movie this year, but I was actually 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, 9, 10, I wouldn't have been able to stay still on my fucking seat. But the last thing I would have wanted to do is go to the theater and not watch people work magic before my eyes. And and I think that if you love cinema, if you love filmmaking, just don't look at the fucking Rotten Tomatoes score. Don't even think about it. Don't even watch your favorite reviewers give the numbered scores if that's what they do. If you think, oh yeah, I just want to I miss the movies. I want to go to the movies again. Yeah. Just go see something, anything. And then if you don't like it, you can walk out. It's okay. I did that when I watched Fast X because of how uncomfortable I felt watching that movie. We're not going to even go there. That was the pre-show that wasn't recorded. But I've never walked out of an A24 movie, and I don't think I ever will. Unless I really have some trouble dealing with what's on screen, because that's also a potential thing that can happen, and that's okay too.
I've never walked out of a film, but I have actively heckled a film with a friend because it was just that bad. That was Uma Thurman, Ralph Fiennes, and Sean Connery in The Avengers. And I can't remember who the studio was, but let's say it was Columbia. I don't care. Columbia Pictures presents. My buddy John and I immediately shout at the screen because we are 2 of 4 people in the theater and we know what we're in for. A sincere apology, we say.
Hey, now that's a fucking riot. That's exactly what you want to do and have some fun. I've walked out and left a theater once.
Yeah.
It was the 8th anniversary celebration surprise movie at my most local cinema. And it's an Art Deco building that sat derelict. It was an old Nickelodeon.
Oh wow.
Then Odeon. And it's a fucking theater. The seats are it's like going to watch a play, except you get the curtains drawn back, and it's cool.
Yeah, it's an old school movie palace.
But an old school movie palace that 10 years ago in 2015 was brought back to life. I never got to go there as a kid because it was fucking derelict. That building has asbestos out the fucking ass. Up, down, all around. It could have been condemned, demolished, and made into something else, but it's like, fuck, that's where movies are fucking shown. And if you're celebrating an anniversary of actual independent fucking cinema, an independent theater running, please show something that isn't. I get there's a demographic where I live. What's Love got to do with it? Starring Lily Allen and directed by Shakespeare in Love director in the first film that they had made since Shakespeare in Love. And actually, no, show something that's going to get people walking out for all the right reasons. If you're trying to celebrate the anniversary of, a theater that may well have shown The Train, and people run the fuck out because they think it's going to hit them.
Mm-hmm.
That happened. And so did Midsommar. So if you like The Wicker Man 2K18, baby, hit that like button, share, favorite, subscribe, and scare your friends with Midsommar. Ari Aster's sophomore slump. Are we going up or just going down, 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 down? Let's see how much lower we can go.
It's
and let's get light and bright about it. Let the sun shine.
Big fan of The Wicker Man. Folk horror is just a fun genre in general. Let's be fair, Hot Fuzz is a folk horror film. Oh my
God,
for the greater good, the greater good.
Hot Fuzz is a folk horror film. Oh my God, it's literally like, oh course it is, but also it's just fun and it's British and like you know they filmed The World's End around the corner from where I live. Like show
Nice.
me the way to the next. I've been in one of those fucking pubs they filmed in, and I'm gonna make a movie in there too, man.
Do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you happen to love folk horror as a genre, you need to watch the documentary. What is it? Shit, I'm totally blanking on the name now. It's got such a cool title. It's
The Happening by M. Night
no,
Shyamalan.
something days and no. Something Nights and Days Bewitched or something like that. Shit.
Okay, all right. Don't worry.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut this up and just have my face pop in here and say the name of the documentary. Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched. That's what it is. It's no.
Did you manifest it from your brain?
Yeah, I suddenly remembered it. Yes,
dude, I read it via the great overlord that is Google Pixel 7, where I'm shooting my film, shot on Google Pixel 7. If you want to put them in Scream 7, that's fine by me, but, hit me up, Google. Woodlands Dark and Days Bewitched is the first feature-length documentary on the history of folk horror, exploring the phenomenon from its beginnings in a trilogy of films. Michael Reeves' The Witchfinder General, Blood on Satan's Claw, and The Wicker Man. I have seen one of those movies, and I have Blood on Satan's Claw on fucking Blu-ray, and I also have The Wicker Man on Blu-ray because I've seen parts of The Wicker Man. I know what The Wicker Man is about, but I've never sat down and experienced it like I did Midsommar, and I don't want to watch The Witchfinder General again, so we're going to do Blood on Satan's Claw and The Wicker Man. That's a double bill. Maybe it'll happen over 2 nights.
Yeah, but that documentary is about 3 hours long. You're in for the long haul. Yeah. But it's very, very interesting. I need to get into those other 2 films that you mentioned. I think they're both on Shudder.
Of course they will be. Of course they will be. The Witchfinder General is really fucked up, guys. Just want to let you know, it's a really fucking messed up movie. Blood on Satan's Claw has a fun title, at least. And also, nice. If it's directed by Piers Haggard's Blood on Satan's Claw, 1971. Wow, that's fascinating. 68, 71, 73. In the span of, 6 years? 5-6 years, half a decade. You had, Hereditary, Midsommar, I Was Afraid. Greatest folk horror trilogy of all time. Hey. They all got woods in them, don't they? Yeah.
I suppose they do.
Cabin in the Woods, Evil Dead 1. Evil Dead 2. Hey, nothing's groovier than the musical Hair, right? This is the dawning of the age of Aster, Aquarius. Let's all get naked and put your fucking ex-boyfriend in a fucking bed.
Bear suit, yeah.
Then, hey, we've all seen Beau Was Afraid. We can remember what happened in the woods. Not
good stuff.
The greatest folk horror comedy trilogy of all time, written and directed by Ari Aster and starring Toni Collette, Florence Pugh, and Phoenix. It's the Cornetto trilogy for a new age. Okay, go with me on this one. Strawberry and vanilla, classic. Mint chocolate chip, bitch. Hereditary. Classic. Midsommar. Strawberry and vanilla. So you know that in the north of England, like if you go to an ice cream van, right, and it's not manned by the fucking child catcher, you can get like chocolate sauce, on your ice cream or whatever, right? Is this a
Sure.
thing in America?
I mean, there's ice cream trucks occasionally still,
Right.
but at the end of the day, it's like, you know, the bit in the Into the Spider-Verse where Peter Parker's talking about how he had so-so ice cream, and it's the horribly melty looking Spider-Man face on the stick. That's the kind of shit that you get out of an ice cream truck in America.
All right. Well, Mr. Whippy, aka a 99, aka soft serve, basically, but
Okay.
soft serve that you can't get it at McDonald's because their ice cream machine's never fucking working.
It's always broken. Yes.
It's broken. But no, yeah. It used to be called a 99 because you'd pay $1, you'd pay 99 cents, you'd pay £1, 99p, and you would get cone, ice cream, soft serve, and a Cadbury flake in there. 99, classic British ice cream. Now, if you want just that, it's £2.50. It's basically $5 and inflation is the bitch. But my point is that the fact that I can connect in my brain Edgar Wright's horror comedy, folk horror comedy, apocalyptic comedy, horror film trilogy with Ari Aster's trilogy of films goes to show that, if nothing else, Succession writers watch the fuck out, because dark comedy, in terms of cinema, if you're looking for someone to go, be like, Ari, what's happening next? I can't wait to watch Ari Aster crash and burn, because he's going to do it with a fucking richest grin on his face.
Yes, and with fucking style.
Yes.
So if Midsommar did have its own cornetto flavor, would it be mushroom mint?
No. It would be the 99, genuinely, because mushroom mint I love the sound of, but I think that mint chocolate chip, when I posted that I made a random TikTok once that was like, the greatest ice cream flavor is mint chocolate chip, don't at me. And the divide, you either love or you hate mint chocolate chip.
Yeah.
There's no one who's in between on it. It's the Marmite of ice cream flavors. You either love it or you hate it. And as far as I'm concerned, that's Beau's Afraid. And then, actually, Midsommar is classic cornetto, Hot Fuzz, which is blue wrapping, and it's got a couple nuts in there. It's a little bit nutty, fruity note that lingers on the tongue. And it's chocolate and, chocolate like triangles impaling you and spreading you into a blood eagle. And then, and Hereditary is just good old fashioned fun. It's Shaun of the Dead. It's, monkey's blood is what they call strawberry sauce up north. They call it monkey's blood. They go to the ice cream truck and they say, "Oh yeah, give me a 99 and do you want any sauce? Oh, yeah, throw some monkey's blood on there." Monkey's blood. Chilled monkey brains. Anyways, rewatched Temple of Doom the other night. Fucking love that movie. Anyways,
kind of knew that's where you were going with all that to begin with, but
shall we wind down?
Yeah, I think we're kind of hitting a natural point here. I mean, clearly we both love this movie.
And I hope you feel strongly about Midsommar as well. If you haven't seen this film and you've listened this far, first of all, congratulations
with you.
You win, no prize. Stanley, what a legend. But I honestly think that everyone should watch it. And I also think everyone should watch Hereditary. But what I will say is that actually I think Midsommar, weirdly enough, is a more accessible film than Hereditary. Genuinely, I think it's the most accessible Ari Aster film, and that's saying something.
Yeah, you could be right. And this is a, just natural film for anybody who's going through a breakup. By all means, go ahead and watch yourself some Midsommar.
we already established it. Watch Midsommar, feel it. Feel it. Oh God. Yeah, sorry, I need to shake off the Marky Mark. Those aren't the good vibrations. When John Cena sings it in Fast X is weird, and I don't like it. I love
yeah, that was definitely an odd little bit because his character did very much a 180 from the prior film.
Do you really want to taste it?
Yeah, they can continue with him in Peacemaker. I'm fine with that.
But yeah, basically, a doff of the cap to you, Ari Aster, because God knows you make a groovy fucking movie.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Always down to see what he's got coming next. It's
Razzie, baby.
Yeah, first the Razzies, and then the fourth film by Ari Aster. Yes.
I can't wait for the quadrilogy box set. Folk horror. Tales of folk horror comedy by Ari Aster.
Yup. It's oof. That's going to be an interesting one. And how long the fourth film will probably be. It's
if he doesn't Sion Sono it and it's 4 hours long, then with intermission.
Please let there be an intermission.
I really, honestly, I love an intermission. One of my favorite experiences is going to one of the oldest cinemas in the UK, the Alhambra in Keswick, watching fucking Gone with the Wind and getting a cup of tea in the intermission because we started watching it at 11 a.m. And it was just like, just have a cuppa and a biscuit, go to the toilet because you're going to need it.
Mm-hmm.
No matter your age.
Or Lawrence of Arabia, yes. That is a film with an intermission as well, and it is very much needed by the point that they roll that intermission out there for sure.
Tarantino did it with The Hateful Eight, didn't he?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. There's an overture which I went and saw and got to see on a big screen projected.
Nice.
I went on a weird, it was almost a pseudo date with someone I went to fucking film school with. It was a bit of a weird vibe, but didn't matter because then we got to see the Hateful Eight roadshow style, Odeon Leicester Square. It wasn't the premiere, but it was pretty fucking close. It was Christmas time, and it was like, what? Wild. It was an experience.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. Where next? Where next, Joe?
That's an excellent question. But we'll find out soon enough. Joe, I think we've got our final thoughts on Midsommar out there. Where can people find you?
You can find me at the intersection of. So, as of July 12th, 2023, Wednesday, July 12th, 2023, if you go to blooddisco.com, you will get to see everything. And in the meantime, think Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 2, Forgetting Sarah Marshall, signed by Sam Raimi, Beware the Evil Dead, Groovy, Halloween by John Carpenter. Look how they massacred my girl. Hereditary, Sucker Punch, Midsommar, Joe Dante's The Howling, filling in Grand Rap, fucking Mega Madness, Super Badness, Gremlins, Edgar Wright's The World's End, Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, we already talked about it. Cabin in the Woods, Robbie Williams live at the Royal Albert Hall. Us, Jordan Peele, The Mirror of the Soul, the full uncut version of Sam Raimi's The Evil Dead starring Bruce Campbell on videotape.
Nice. I'm fairly certain I have that somewhere.
2001. One of the last VHSs ever fucking produced.
Yep, I am fairly certain I have that copy. Nice.
I'm fucking nice. Peacemaker, the intro sequence alone, stage fright. You seen this fucking movie?
No.
Yeah, you need to fucking see it.
All right.
Italian horror from
That-
1987. A group of young dancers rehearsing in an old theatre is accidentally locked in for the night, but not alone. In the shadows, someone is watching, waiting, and selecting victims at his demented leisure tonight. Deranged serial killer. He's escaped and is about to put on his own real-life horror show.
Hey, I love me some Italian horror, so I'm down.
I'm Jim Carrey in the Andy Kaufman biopic Man on the Moon. Jim and Andy: The Great Beyond on Netflix now. Watch it. Me as Fat Sam when I was like 11 or 12 years old in VHS of Bugsy Malone. And Bloody Disco Balls. Back in February, Joe, I quit my fucking job. And in 2 weeks, with a little help from a friend, I was given creative freedom, and I came up with the concept for my first independent feature film, written, directed, and starring Joe Medforth, also known as Joe Medforce, also known as Joe Madforce, also known as Joe Redforce and Deadforce. I've never been a content creator. I've always been a fucking star and a filmmaker. And so this is your first look at Blood Disco, a horror musical.
Very nice.
A monster murders to find his voice and descend into the blood disco below. The teaser trailer sizzle reel will be up on blooddisco.com and everywhere I fucking put it on the internet. And that's when the crowdfunding starts.
All right.
I've been making this movie since February, and like the end of February, beginning of March. And I quit my fucking day job to do it. I'm bending over backwards. I sold my fucking childhood Pokemon card collection today to fund this. And
damn,
if you, in part, along with other stuff, because actually this is what is most important to me. Part-time stream working towards a full-time dream was something I said, came up with in the spur of the moment during a pandemic when we were all fucking alone and all we could do was like live stream and hope that someone listened. And the only reason I'm sitting on this podcast here today is because Joe is one of those people that listened and understands. And I know that this is a sea change and this is like Whiplash, Ari Aster 180 degrees from everything you fucking know about me, except if I tell you that twitch.tv/Joe Medforce, youtube.com/Joe Medforce, TikTok /@Joe Medforce, @Joe Medforce, JoeMedforce.com will be blooddisco.com. I'm making a fucking film. I'm telling my story. And if you want to join me in this dance to your death and mine as well, don't worry, it ain't like that. It's like Hereditary and Midsommar and Beau is Afraid and all of those fucking movies and Blu-rays I just talked you through and gave you the long and ever-ending list of. I went, did film studies at university, wrote a screenplay, 2 screenplays. The first was called Scar Tissue. The second was hard sci-fi relationship drama called Counterpart. And then I swore off narrative filmmaking because it was a really difficult experience for me. But what I'm doing now is what I've ultimately always wanted to do ever since I saw Spider-Man swing for real in front of my eyes. Ever since begging my parents to go see Toy Story 2.
Yeah.
Ever since watching Drag Me to Hell. Watching and realizing that I can feel like this. Hereditary. Get Out. Prowl. I didn't actually have it here. It's an After Dark Films, but I watched that and I was like, that was the night Blood Disco was born. And I was like, if I have a fucking set that's just the back of a fucking trailer truck and I have good sound design and I have enough blood packs and I decide that I want to throw a heroine into a vampire training ground on the lowest budget possible, I could fucking do that. I know exactly how that's done. And I know that Sam Raimi taped a fucking camera and held it to a plank of wood to make one of the most iconic. He went to dentists and was like, hey, I got this thing called Within the Woods. I want to make a full version of it. give money, please. This is me doing that. And Joe gets to hear about it first because I'm Joe and I heard about it first. And and right here at this exact point, you'll see the first ever still from Blood Disco coming to a big screen near you, hopefully, by the end of December 2025. But if you want it sooner, July 12th, when I am on Twitch live streaming and singing at least one song and dancing to at least one song from every fucking karaoke game I own on Nintendo Wii, Guitar Hero included, until you at least give me like $5. And where we go from there is up to you, because I'm putting everything I got into this. And
that's awesome.
That
is so cool.
And also, if you want to be creatively involved, if you want to jump on this train and help me out, once we raise some fucking money, you get your food paid for, you get your travel paid for if you want or need to travel, and you also get paid if any of us can get paid at the end of this. National living wage. I'm talking minimum wage plus the tips. $7, $11, whatever it is. If you work on this movie, it's not for credit, it's not for exposure. This is not something that could become a scam. This is what I want to do with my life now.
That's so fucking cool.
And like,
I love the passion and the commitment, because that is no light thing to quit your fucking day job to jump into something that you feel so passionately about. So,
and that's the thing, is that actually it's one thing I've told a fair few people already. People who I do want to be involved with it. People who I just wanted to tell. So some of you may see this and know already, but actually it's like, I opened this podcast. You asked me how I was, and I said I'm happier than I've ever been. Basically, I said I'm happier than I've been in a decade, and that's the truth. And I'm crying because I'm happy about it. Like, that's the extreme of emotion that this brings me to. And I just want you all to know that even if all you do is say, "Hey, I don't know what he's doing, but tell someone about it you think might love it," that's all you need to do. You can do that in person. But yeah, if you go to blooddisco.com on July 12th, and between now and then, on every social media that only wants to show it's approximately 200 people each time I post about it, I don't give a shit. Hashtag Descend, DESCEND. You can find everything there. And as of tomorrow, June 12th, this will be posted later. It's a month to go. And I would love to have you help me tell this story.
Well, I am definitely going to be spreading the word about this, man. That's so exciting.
Like, dude, and this is the thing. I love,
cool.
I love what everyone has built since the pandemic. Kind of funny. The best friends, everyone involved. You shared screens, ridiculous passions, like, freaking Point in Progress. Like, all these people, so many of them have actually met in person. But it's like, I really did try, like, coming out of that to just do what I was doing, and it wasn't actually working for me. I'm not a content creator. I'm a storyteller. And I'm finally telling the first story of hopefully many. I don't necessarily have 10 pictures in me, but let's at least make this first one happen,
Yeah, man. Hell yeah.
And that's your world premiere. That's your Jeff motherfucking Keighley moment. That is the, like, George R.R. Martin fucking
one more thing.
And and thank you so much for giving me the space to
absolutely, dude. Thank you for coming on, and thank you for getting really real here too.
Yeah, dude. That's the thing. Like, I may have half my face covered in fake blood, but
well, it is a horror podcast, but
yeah. That's the thing. I want you to know that I just really appreciate what you're doing here because actually, people love horror films like Scream in review. Like popcorn horror. But sure. What about the movies that make you set your popcorn to the side and fucking go, what? Also, just so you know, Blood Disco is going to be frightening but funny, scary but silly. It's going to be everything you've come to know about Joe.
I would expect nothing less.
It's called Blood Disco. It's too hard, So the performance has already begun and you didn't even know it. And the nice thing is as well, this is serious. I've also been recording behind the scenes stuff in addition to what I've been filming since the latter part of February. So if you financially support this movie, you're going to get to see all of that. You're going to get to see the making of as it happens.
Nice.
If you want to see it. And if not, maybe you'll just get a poster. Maybe you'll get a copy of the Blu-ray if you really want it. Or maybe there'll be a seat for you at the premiere because you know what? I want to get as many people in the theater as possible to watch my Midsommar.
Hell yeah.
My Beau is afraid, 2025, baby.
Man.
If you want it. All right.
There we go.
And
there we go.
There we go. And there you have it. I'm gonna grab a tissue and let you take this home, man.
Dude, thank you again for first of all coming on to talk about this movie, for like I said, getting really real about things there because dude, I get it. We've been to some places in these past few years and I very much understand. But yes.
But also, it's a point. We're all still here.
And
we can be the May Queen or we can be the bear that burns. And you know what? Either one's fine. Just, make a choice, make some choices.
Yep. Yes, indeed. Well, dude, I will get you back on eventually. Hopefully not over a year again like the last time.
No. But here's the deal. Next time we'll talk about my movie. How's that sound?
Fuck yeah.
and I just get to hear what you think because I'm really excited for you to see it.
Dude, thank you. I appreciate that.
No, thank you. This is not what you necessarily expected from us talking about Midsommar.
You know what? That's perfectly okay. That's this has definitely been a bit of a departure of the format that the show typically goes with.
Fuck formats, man. Waluigi #1. But I love that. I love that you're open to it. And I will be 32 years old in October of this year. So this being the 32nd episode, pretty fitting for me as well.
There you go. Perfect. Well, this has been Murders with Mertens, a horror film podcast. Thank you for letting us tickle your ear holes. Please like, share, and subscribe if you are so inclined. I'll be back soon enough with another episode. But until next time, stay spoopy, everyone.
Dance to your dead and listen to Bloodisco.com.